All right, the great Steve Moore writes in a column out today, quote, "Why does Washington want to destroy America's Magnificent Seven?" How about that? He joins us now. Talk about it. Steve Moore, FreedomWorks, chief columnist, Committee to Unleash Prosperity, host of More Money on WABC Radio, and one of his colleagues on WABC Radio on the weekend, a certain show named Kudlow. Liz Peek, syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor, and another of our heroes, Kevin Hassett, former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors during the Trump years and author of the most important book of the 21st century, The Drift, Stopping America's Slide to Socialism. All right, Steve, Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. These guys are so far in front with their technological prowess, and as you point out in your column, consumer prices for what they make and produce have been falling for years, which is what technology does, enhancing productivity, et cetera, et cetera. Why do both Republicans and Democrats want to destroy the Magnificent Seven? I don't get it either.
I don't get it. And look, anybody who has a 401k plan, and I think that's over 120 million Americans, anybody with a retirement plan that's invested in the stock market. You know, if you look at the gains this year, Larry, and I've heard you say this many times, but it's worth repeating, almost all of the gains in the stock market this year are attributable to these Magnificent Seven companies. Every one of them is a great American company, and I love that story. We're out competing the Japanese, we're out competing the Europeans, we're out competing the Chinese. They would die to have companies like these, and we have our members of Congress, and we have groups, you know, on the conservative and the liberal side that are trying to break these companies up because they're too efficient. They're too profitable. Come on, this is America. If you make money, that's a good thing. And you're right about this. Every single one of those companies is lowering the cost of cell phones, lowering the cost of search engines, of Amazon, lowering retail costs. Come on, I love these companies.
You know, Liz Peek, during the break, you were saying the same thing, that most of the gains, the S&P 500's up nearly 20% year to date. Most of the gains come from the Magnificent Seven. By the way, the Kudlow Trust has been long the index all year long, but the Kudlow Trust is always long the index. So
good.
I'm not a stock picker, but the point is really well taken. Would we rather have the Chinese with the best technology companies? Would we rather have Europe with the best social media companies? I mean, that's what Steve is driving at. Sure. And some of these companies, I don't like their politics either. The market's going to take care of that with demand, just like it took care of Disney and Budweiser. I think, what's your take on it? We shouldn't attack America's greatest companies.
No, I mean, I think the Biden White House has ideologically a real aversion to profits. They have aversion to market dominance. These companies are market dominant. I mean, Google has, what, 85, 90% of the search business, and yet none of us pays anything for that, right? It's not like the price of search goes up every day. There is no price of search, and we rely on it.
Wait a second, it's free. They just give it away.
That's what I'm saying.
How can you complain about something that's free?
Well, but they can't leave it alone, Larry. They can't stand success. They can't stand profits, the mother's milk of everything. And so, I mean, I think that's a problem. The conservatives, it's a whole different issue. They just don't like the fact that these are left-wing companies, and they are by and large.
Kevin Hassett, isn't that really the issue, what Liz just said? She said that last sentence was a throwaway, but if we could, I'd repeat it. They don't like it because they're successful capitalist companies, Kevin Hassett. It's right out of The Drift.
Right. That's certainly why people on the left don't like them. And I think that people on the right, you know, need to understand that, sure, they've done like terrible things by, you know, killing conservative voices, wiping them from the internet and so on. But the fact is that in a free enterprise system, that companies rise, they succeed, they take over a market, and then creative destruction hits them. And before you know it, competitors are coming in. And so remember that the EU wanted to break up Netscape. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And think of all the stuff that they were doing, but like, where's Netscape now? And so, you know, in a dynamic free enterprise system, what's going to happen is that if these guys continue to censor and do things, then Elon Musk is going to create other things that are preferable because they're not politically biased, and they're going to go out of business. But that's like the natural competition that should discipline these things. And it shows that something that's undercovered, that the Biden administration is so far to the left of the Obama administration on everything that you think back to the Obama days. Remember, they had had 100 Google people serving in the Obama administration at some point. They brought in a bunch of people from these industries, and they actually, I think, tilted policy in their favor a little bit. But now the Biden people are all Bernie Sanders people and Elizabeth Warren people, and they're just out to lunch.
Real socialists, not fake, phony socialists. Real socialists. The other point is it was Europe, the EU, that wanted to put this digital sales tax on American companies because they said it was social media companies. Steve Moore, can you remember any large social media companies coming out of Europe? Can you remember any large technological companies coming out of Europe? Actually, I'm tempted. There are a couple of phone companies in Northern Europe. But seriously, Europe doesn't have any of this stuff. And the competition, would we rather have Google and Nvidia, by the way, Jim Cramer's dog is named Nvidia. Would we rather have Google and Nvidia under Chinese stewardship, Steve Moore? Isn't that really the issue? Do we want China? I mean, that's why we shouldn't attack them.
Well, look, we have blown away Europe with respect to the technology revolution that goes back to the early 1990s with the internet and all these incredible companies that have developed. And, it's important to remember what happened, what created the environment that created these, Larry. I've said it before on your show, but I want to repeat it. We made and actually this goes back to Bill Clinton and the Republicans in Congress. We made a decision. You know what? We're going to make the internet tax-free, regulation-free, and lawsuit-free. And we're going to let these companies go, like the Wild West. And look what it has created. Some of these companies have $1 trillion of value. It's a beautiful thing. One other quick point, Larry. Guess what happens? Once they knock these companies down to their knees, which is what the Biden administration wants to do, you know what they're going to do then? They're going to treat them like Intel, and then they're going to subsidize them.
True.
That's just wonderful. Speaking of subsidizing and socialism, Liz, the last 2 minutes here, the Trump derangement syndrome rides high again. You wrote a very good column about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, they are attacking Trump at a pace we've never seen before. And I think it's because, A, they're afraid he's going to win. If Joe Biden is the candidate, almost surely Trump now, according to the polling, is going to win. But also, Larry, they have nothing else to run on. The only credible agenda that the Democrats can really run on is climate. And I think Americans are becoming less enamored with what he is doing on climate every single day. I point out in this piece, and others have written about this, we need something incredible like 20 million charging stations. We have put $100 billion towards that end. Not one station has been built, which is what happens when you put the government.
I didn't know, not one.
Yeah,
that's
fabulous. But I mean, that's one of, I can tell you 12 things that the government is doing that are impeding the progress towards renewable fuel adoption.
Can we play do we have the quote from the Sultan of the UAE Sultan who runs, he should be our energy secretary in the next Trump administration. Can you put it up on the full screen or play the sound or something? Here it comes. Listen to this. Next energy.
Please help me, show me a roadmap for a phase out of fossil fuel that will allow for sustainable socio-economic development, unless you want to take the world back into caves.
This is my kind of guy.
This guy was the host of COP28, and he told the truth.
This is my kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's the next energy secretary. Yeah. And
I love it.
And Kevin, his cousin's going to be the interior secretary. I don't know. We'll give them special visas, okay? We'll give them legitimate visas to come on and help us out. Anyway, I got to go. They're all yelling at me. Steve Moore, Kevin Hassett, Liz Peek. I think I'm still Kudlow.